Hi, my name is Sueyellen. I live in Prospect Lefferts Gardens, and I'm here with some members of our AD, with our district leader. We've formed a committee to see if we can work on some of the problems that we had. We were all poll workers. I think, of course, the purge of voters was very unfortunate, but I'm not going to speak on that today. The 2 points I want to make is the affidavit ballots. I think the affidavit ballot came to the fore at this election because of the purge. Usually we have one or two every once in a while. It goes through the whole day. Every one of our tables had at least 20 to 25 affidavits. The main problem is that there is no way of telling who wrote it. There's no stub, there's no number, there's no receipt. Once that ballot goes into the envelope and is handed back to us, we know nothing about where they go. You can tell me, the board can tell me that they're counted, but we really have no proof that those ballots were counted. We had many, many people the day of the election asking, don't I get something? Aren't you going to give me something to prove that I wrote this? No stub, nothing. There's nothing on it that gives us any indication of who voted. We don't put their names down. We don't put it in the book. We don't do anything. So those go in the bag, the famous bag, and we never see them again. And we don't know if they're counted or not. Of course, we don't know if the purge votes were counted. So, but the affidavits is something that can be worked on. They go on a pad just like a ballot, and they have a stub, and they have a number, and the number goes into the book just like the regular ballots. This is one of the shortcomings that I see. Our biggest problem in the 43rd AD is that it's the largest Haitian community in the city. Ironically, we have 3 Haitian elected officials. We have an assemblywoman, 2 assembly persons, and a council member. None of we can't translate for them. We can't do anything for them. I speak French and Creole, but I am not allowed to tell those voters. And the ballots are so complicated, it would have been impossible for me to, in Creole, to explain that ballot. It was bad enough for English people. They say that you can only do Spanish and Chinese. And that has to change. This city is a multicultural country, and we make no provisions for immigrants.
So Creole is used to be one of the 7 major languages that were required basis of translation for city documents. Is that for some reason not extended to all the ballots?
We've never had a translator in our poll.
Not a translator, the actual documents being translated.
No.
Whether or not a jurisdiction is required to have a language is governed by the Voting Rights Act, Section 203, I think it is, right? But, and because this is an issue that is close to me, so we were working on seeing. But can't voters take somebody into the booth?
But they don't come with anybody, and there's nobody in the poll that we can call on to take into the booth with them.
All right.
And they just...
Because this is an issue that
of course, that creates void ballots.
The number of
so it makes it another problem. The affidavits were bad enough, but the void ballots are just as bad.
Okay, so just to clarify the language issue, Committee Member Gibbs is correct that the Voting Rights Act does control the translation of voting materials, and the Voting Rights Act requires in New York City the translation of voting materials into Spanish, Korean, Chinese, Bengali, and Spanish. Did I say Spanish twice? Okay, I'm sorry. And it depends on the location. The city has for other documents, like the documents that are handed out as from city government agencies, has a broader list on which Haitian Creole is one of those languages. So, and then there's a separate series of rules regarding the translation of voting documents into Russian. Certain voting materials have to be translated by the Board of Elections into Russian. So it's complicated.
Okay.
Okay.
But this is Brooklyn you're talking about?
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah, that's right,
Prospect
left here,
Left
yeah.
Shore.
Yeah, Brooklyn.